we're going to roll with this. This is a slightly new position in my setup here, and we're going to roll with this. The lighting might be a little bit, it certainly broke where I'm sat, but hopefully it all works out for the best. So I've been trying to get a video done for a while. Wanted to get myself in the sort of right frame of mind. Too dramatic. It's really just getting myself set up in the way that I can actually have something worth saying, make an interesting video. Like this is essentially an inbox review, but the idea is I want to strike a format going forward where inbox reviews, that's not what they are. There's a little bit more to it, a little bit of interest, something to be gotten out of it for the viewer, rather than just go, oh, this is the cut the bag here and this sprue is sprue A. So we'll see how that goes. We'll have to hope for the best. But in the meantime, with the little time that I've got, I've managed to get onto a website. These totally passed me by. No idea why. Don't know what happened. I had no idea Takom released a Tiger, let alone free. So it looks like we're just waiting for the early, although imminently we'll have all but the actual early tank, because we're going to have an early turret on the Fairman Tiger. We've already got the early tracks and road wheels on this one and a few other of their mids, but they've officially released a mid and a late, and now they're using parts. I'm shaking the table and we're on an arm, so I'll learn all of this. So they're making what they can out of having a late Tiger and a mid Tiger. So we've got Otto Carius in his rather unique's not the right word. His Tiger is a mid Tiger, but it has early tracks, a couple other early features. It's got like the P mantlet, which is like the initial mantlet. It's the one that's on like the Bovington Tiger, so really early Tigers had that, and then they kind of moved through the production. So it looks like Otto's tank, I think it was someone else's before he got in it, and it was more of a traditional mid, and then they changed a few bits, probably because it got damaged. No more than that. I don't imagine it's better. We've got the removed road wheel, and it's really me chasing the dream of classic kits, which is what I remember when I was growing up. I had the Tamiya release of the Otto Carius Tiger. They all had Zimmerit. Very quick way for me to fail, as because I was quite young when I was doing these, sort of like, you know, 12 to 15, something like that, where I was getting these. So milliput Zimmerit from the Tony Greenland Panzer Modelling Masterclass book didn't really go to plan at that age, but we had fun. So it's time to have a go at that again. So in this one we've got, it's a rather stripped down kit of the previously mentioned mid and late Tiger. So it's very hard for me to find the information on this without actually having the kit, but because we've got all the sprues along the side so I can see what's in there. But I actually was getting confused. I think their mid and late Tigers come with both types of track. So it's a link and length track, and on Tigers, if you don't know, it's a simple thing. Each track link is either got flat where the point meets the ground, it's like a raised section. So this part is either flat with ridges, or it's exactly the same but with with cleats raised. So raised cleats are mid and late, flat are early. Bit of crossover in the kind of early mid early, not the mid early, the early mids. But apart from that, it's pretty straightforward. So it's nice that when you're buying your mid Tiger, you're going to use the late track. So you're going to have a sprue of the early track that you can use on other kits, which is fantastic, because link and length tracks are, you know, are pretty good. I've got a feeling, again, I'd have to get into it. I'm going to get a couple more, he says. So I don't know if you're going to have. I don't think the sprockets or the idlers ever change, so you're not going to get different sprockets, so you might have to have a bit of work around if you're going to use the tracks on a different kit, and I may be doing that, so more on that later. But as far as it is on the front of it, this is a brand new kit of the Tiger, not another Tiger. Well, we haven't really got one to this level, although there's an awful lot of kits out there. So we got moulded on Zimmerit, Lincoln length tracks with open guide horns, so that's good and accurate enough. The Zimmerit looks brilliant. We've got a metal gun barrel, we've got photo etch grills, we've got moulded tool clamps with holes in the handle, so we don't have to mess about with putting etch handles on. So I think finally we're pretty much out of the box good enough to satisfy 90% of the people that are going to want to build a reasonably accurate Tiger out of the box. And for the other 10%, well, this is a good base, and you can either get another kit and put your own Zimmerit on it, and you can add your metal tracks and all the rest of it. But this is around £40, well, probably £45 in the UK. I got it for just over £40. I think it's a bargain. This kit really only builds the Otto Carius Tiger 217, so just bear that in mind. You can't really make other Tigers than this. You could make your own version of one, but there aren't very many that utilised all these parts in one go that is in this kit. So to have early tracks on a mid with a P mantlet and a few other little things, pretty much is only this one. Plus we get an Otto Carius character. Now, if you want to get one of the others, then you're well away. So the mid looks like it comes with loads of stowage as well, which we haven't had before, and we've even got the rain cover that goes over here, and the late looks like it's got the similar sprue, so that's excellent. So I think we'll switch the camera around now, look at some of the sprues on the bench, and then see where we go from there. Okay, so we've obviously got our metal barrel, which is very much what it says. Quite a lot of nicks on there. Whether they'll show up or not, I don't know, but it's probably going to be worth just buffing that down a little bit with some sort of sanding stick. I think that would be plenty enough. So we've got metal gun barrel, photo etch, I think these are handles for buckets, but then we've got the mesh guards for the grills. Excellent, every Tiger needs those. We've got a little bit of copper wire, brilliant. So this is turned copper wire. The reason that you want this is because it's malleable, and when you bend it, you can sort of twist and bend it to keep the thread together, and it won't splay out at the end. You can put it in different configurations, and it will stay like that. So we've got a nice long bit of copper wire, and that is actually not cheap. I've had to buy that from Poland in the past, Eureka cable, so it's nice that it comes in the kits, and Takom is continuously supplying that in the kits, as well as some others. So we've got 217, red with a very tight white border and black numbers. I'm just going to have a look. I actually don't like how that red is, if you go really in quite tight, it's quite a rough edge to it. It's not a very sharp rendering. Well, you're not going to notice, but it's just a point to maybe say. And we've got a clear sprue of periscope. So there we are. That's what we've got in that. Now, if we go into the instructions, I'm probably going to spend a little bit of time looking through these. I just need to make sure I'm in position. We don't need to worry about the basics, although there is a little bit of basics on this page. So this is our sprue breakdown. So this is where it really matters. Now you can go on Scalemates and have a look at the instructions for the other kits. I think, as sometimes happens, they've only got generic ones up, so it's just for whichever one. It's either the mid or the late is attributed to both, I believe. But the important thing to note is we have the A sprue of tracks. And I've noticed when I've looked at the instructions on the other ones, we've got A and we've got B. And B is the mid-late, the ones with the raised cleats on the tracks. The rest of this is pretty much generic. Obviously we've got, you know, these wheels are going to cater for early and mids. and a lot of this is all going to be fine for that all the way through. This sprue here, which is F, is your open guide horns, which is fine for both sets of tracks. We've got a jig for the track, which is interesting, and then we've got zimmerated parts, which are here, I believe. Now that's also interesting, because when we get onto the earlies, I think only very late on there was a few earlies. I think the later batches of earlies had zimmerit, the rest didn't. So that would be another, to have a crossover is difficult when you've already got parts of the kit that have moulded on zimmerit. Nicely, this is really only, I think I've only seen this in Dragon. I don't think the RFM standard kits have it, the Tamiya kits don't. I think the Dragons did, which is the fuel tanks and radiator, or air intakes and the for the engine here. So that gives you something to look through the top of the grills, and a bit of substance in there, so that's quite nice. Rest of it is typical makeup, wheels going together. Idler is not positionable, so let's hope that the track run when you put it on is fits well and nice and tight. You can see the way the tracks go up. We've got a jig here, so what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10 at a time to go around the sprocket and the idler, presumably. So that's individual links being put together with sprues of your open guide horns, which are just here. And you can glue them on and then you just nip them off. So it's all pretty straightforward. You don't have to worry about getting every single guide horn off. We're doing them in runs of 10. And again, for the long parts, we're doing them in a run of probably looks like 30 links there. So I think these tracks are going to be the best you could hope for, really. And they're going to build up pretty quickly. So there's not a lot of problem there. And there you can see link and length as it is links around the curves, length along the flat. Works very well and shows up really nicely on these sort of tanks where you've got a long sweep for the track sag. Another nice touch, it looks like, let's just gonna have to go back and just check that. So the outer road wheels come as an option to have the tyres separate, the rubber tyres separate. And we've also got the mount as well, so that mount is fixed onto the end of the axle, and that's what takes the outer road wheel. These were often removed, almost certainly on the first one, and Otto Carius's one was removed, so that's what the option is here, and that is this plate with the centre section in it, with a nut in it. So that's good. Often in kits that's been, there's been a part in there, but it's not actually the correct part. It's actually one of these parts, and it's not what would be the final fixing. So that all looks correct to me. It's nice that we can have the rubber road wheel off if we want to show a bit of damage, and that did, you know, there's plenty of pictures showing that. And we've got options for missing road wheels, so that always adds a bit of uniqueness, and that's, you know, really looking at that for the mid and late generic kits, which are going to have that as well. All the fittings on the back as we go on through, general stuff. So these side panels are going on, and these have got the zimmerit, so that's how they've done that. We've got the tub. The side panels go on with the mounting lugs for the side fenders already moulded on, so if you want to leave them off, that's all present. We've got the track cable there as well, which is in the correct, is that is correct, isn't it? Yeah, that's the mid and late. The early one, this ends up over here, I believe. It's different configuration. That's all absolutely spot on. We've got a machine gun mount as well, ball mount on the interior there, just a little bit. I mean, I wonder, well, it doesn't strike me that they're gonna do one of these with an interior, but they may do. They've got a history on that, so we'll have to wait and see. Not that something I'd be interested in. Then we've got the top plate going on with the front mud guards already fitted. Etch is going on, few holes to drill out of the top plate. It's all very standard Tiger stuff. Then we've got all the other fittings going on. All looks absolutely fine to me. And then the big top plate goes on. We've got movable, it looks like, armour vision port. Right, what have we got here then? So we've got anti-aircraft machine gun, the MG34 on the top there with the ring mount. We've got a gun breech, oh that's interesting, that's quite good. It's quite nice actually, it's quite comprehensive. We've got a little bit of a zoomed in section there just showing you placement of this T12 part. Interesting that we're on to Spru T and U, and that's getting quite out into the weeds as far as sprue numbers are concerned, which might mean that we do actually get an interior. Got other parts that we'll see, all the interior parts are U. So I don't know, we never know. We'll see, it's quite a full turret. We've got parts of the gun barrel going on there now. It's pretty ingenious stuff. We've got a plastic barrel. If you don't want to use the metal barrel, it looks like they're one piece. So it'll just be just a mould line, not a seam line. We've got the wire conduit as well for the lamp, the Bosch headlight that goes in the centre of the glacis plate there. And then we've got the travel lock. So we've got 3 different ways of posing the travel lock, which is open, split into 2 parts. Closed but with a sagging chain, and closed with a chain for the barrel to go in. And then we've got a ridiculously blown up section showing the figure, which is actually unusually, I would suggest, split down the middle for the torso. Got a couple of oil drums, a wire basket and some jerry cans. We've got, no that's not times, that's X12 and X13. I think we've got, oh I don't know, that's very confusing seeing it like that. Don't think it tells you how many you've got. And we got 2 marking options, so both for the Eastern Front in July. I don't think that's quite correct because we've got a whitewash here. Now, it's been a while since I've looked at Otto Carius's Tiger. I did have a quick glance during this. I've got a feeling when it was in this livery, it was not in under his command, and then in this livery he had taken command of the tank. I might be wrong. I'm going to look into that a little bit more. I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but I'm just going to try and check up on that and see, once I get into the build, whether that was the case or not. So nice comprehensive instruction sheet. So here we are. This is the box, so let's get that one open. What we're dealing with is a great big box full of sprues. So here we are looking at some of the parts. We won't go exhaustively through every part, just look at some of the main features. So here we've got a one-piece turret, and we can see there that it is symmetrical. We've got a bit more of a bulge here, asymmetrical, sorry, which is correct. Now you shouldn't be seeing any issue with this in kits these days, but historically we have had symmetrical turrets, but it was always slightly out of sync this side. We've got very nice Zimmerit. I think I'm as zoomed in as I can get there, but we can see there's damage all around it in very natural areas. It looks really, really good. Very impressive. If I could do it as well as this, I wouldn't be able to do it better. So it's not like I'm thinking, oh, this is no good, I'm going to redo it. This is perfectly adequate for me. So that's the turret there. Not much to talk about other than, again, this would have to be different for the early. So you can't just reuse, you can reuse the type of part, but not this actual piece, because we've got a piece of Zimmerit there. But we've got features from older kits. This was often missing, this kind of welded, I don't know what it is, it's like a reinforcing plate. It usually was only shown there, but it was also here, so that's in. We've got that. We've got, for those who care about the undersides, we've got welds running all the way around as well as the access panels. So that looks very nice, but it is only a whole tub. Now we've got the turret roof. Now on here, this is really nice. We've got the welds all around the edge. This is as good as I've seen anywhere else. All the way down. I can't see why you'd want to change those. I certainly wouldn't want to. They look absolutely fine to me. As we look around the upper hull as well, or the roof, the top of the hull, it's the same. Again, we've got weld beads running all the way around here. Really nice. All in different directions. So this is curved going this way. This is curved going that way. And then this is curved going that way. So it all looks very natural. We've got cast texture here on these parts of, these are the cast plates there, which is where this is a hinge. So this would, the whole thing, I think, hang on, am I getting that right? I think this whole piece lifts up like that, and this is the hinge part here. I think this and this are joined and they lift up like that. We've got wood texture. Now, as most kits, there's wood texture on the top, not on the sides. I can imagine it'd be very difficult to do it on the sides. And then I just wanted to show us there, which is the tool clamps with the open tool handles, which is, for those in the know, very important. Now, that is a plastic moulded tool clamp. And the issues you can get is here. You can see the difference. That is what I want to see. That's about as probably as good as you can get on plastic moulding. Here, a little bit of flash in the middle. Now, I imagine just running around with a bit of Tamiya extra fin. Actually, I got it to hand. Let's see if that does anything. So it's just running in there with a bit of Tamiya extra fin. You sort of get it right in there. Use the brush to try and melt away. And just smooth it out and around, and then when it's like that, you just blow it out, and then as that dries back, that's always my first port of call with anything like this, because it could be as simple as that, just burning off or melting away, sorry, the excess plastic. If there is still a little bit there, you could go in with a very sharp blade. I think the issue is actually not these parts, it's the bit at the back, it's just a bit thick. But I think we're, you know, I'm nitpicking there for sure. Everything else looks very good across that. We've got another sprue here. I thought this was just interesting. We've got the three different mantlets here. There are other ones. Now, I believe we're going to be using this one. This is the really early P version. Then you get a raised section here, which is at different kind of depths from the way it joins in, contour, I suppose, something like that. And then it's got obviously got two holes for the gun sight and showing you how the different variants. We've got two different cupolas as well. Now, I did see on David Burden's site, he was mentioning that one of these, this cutout here for your kind of, it's like a slot and tab that goes into this section here to fix which direction it will go in. It fixes it into the wrong direction. So if you're interested in sorting that out, just have a look at tiger1.info, I think it is, quite an old website, and it just shows if you cut that out, you can twist it so it's in the correct direction. Don't know if it applies to this kit. It was just the first ones that he was looking at. Now, interestingly as well, we've got two different types of turret. So there was two different types of turret Zimmerit. There were two different types of turret Zimmerit. Now, that matches our one, but it was a lot wider and rougher like that as well, and that was not continued down onto the hull. I think it's because they were being done in a different place. So it's nice to see that catered for. So this is probably a generic sprue here. And we've got the one-piece barrel there with said mould line, which should be easy just to scrape off. So this bit goes into that bit with the muzzle brake on the end. And we've got slide moulding going on here as well, as you can see. That all looks very good. Now, onto the tracks. I went over these a little bit. Now, the only ejector pin marks I can see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across there, and they're raised. they're on the flat section in between the guide horns. They're going to be very easy to sand out and also very hard to see once the wheels are in the middle. As we look onto the actual very detailed section, they are not there. Now, these have got, they've even got a marking, like a stamp, a number stamped down in there. Go, I think I've caught it. There you go, see? Can you just see down in there? Like a little mark. Well, that is, if I had a magnifying glass, I think it might say 313 or something like that. I've never seen that on plastic tracks, so that's quite impressive. And we've also got some slide moulding going on here, which is to allow for the opening here. Because what are these? Are these the spare tracks? One. Yeah, they're probably the spare tracks for along the front and around the turret. Hence why they want those holes open, because there is no pin in them. So that looks very good, and we've got the open guide horns there as well. And the idea is you cut this section off of these sprue nibs, and then using this piece of sprue you glue them onto there, and then you just cut them away when the glue's dry. And the same again for the runs of 4, and we've got runs of 10. I think that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, 10. So they should go together really easily. Quick look over the wheels. Now I think these look really nice. Again, fine for all but the absolute Tiger enthusiast. Again, we've got raised maker's marks on the rubber vinyl wheels, tyres, and more impressively, it's different on the different types of tyre. They're not different, they are the outer road wheels. Is that different then? Well, it looks different. No, I don't think it is. And it does say Continental. So if you're not going to have the outer road wheel on, these are the ones you have. So these are like the kind of outer, it's got a name that escapes me, but it's what you put on if you're not going to put a wheel on. And if you are going to fix a wheel, you put this on, and then this wheel fixes into that. And then we've just got the one spare one there that we can have with, it's not spare, we can mount this with the rubber off. They look really good. Bit more Zimmerit, a bit more of the comprehensive Zimmerit. So this is down along the side panels now, the front panel, rear section. There's the, oh, that's good. You don't often see that. That's the, I think they're correct. That's what these side fenders had. It was one and an end, and they were a bit smaller. You don't often see those. It's usually just like one bit for fitting it onto the model, nothing to do with how it actually looked. Nice engine deck cover there as well, with cast texture along this part. And you can see the Zimmerit, really natural looking. Not too thick, not too deep, not shallow or soft, just right. Looks very natural. We've got two different front plates there as well. I cannot immediately see a difference. I think it's just a difference in Zimmerit initially. And that's the interior piece as well. Really good stuff, this. And then lastly, we'll just have a look here at this sprue. So W here is Otto. Nice rendition of the figure. Really nice, actually. Very natural looking, crisp folds in the jacket and the legs. Interestingly, I did see pointed out on the internet, no audio equipment. So we've got no headphones or throat mic. I actually 3D printed a couple of sets of those, so I might use one of those. But I think he'd look very natural just stood next to the tank. We've got one of these oil drums here, which don't recognise that with the ribbing. It might have some special reason for being in there, but I don't recognise it at the minute. We've got German helmets across there, 2 jerry cans, 2 buckets. And we've got a front plate there as well that doesn't have Zimmerit, because I don't think they always put it on this flat piece here, because there was a honking great machine gun sticking there. They probably thought it would be a little bit... You really would need a keen Russian to stick one on there. There we are, who knows. So that's a quick look, quite a long-winded look, at the Tiger 1 mid-production with Zimmerit, the Otto Carius version from Takom. Now I think it's a really interesting kit. I think it boasts quite a lot of impressive features for the price. I think it's now the sort of this kit looks like the standard for Tiger 1s. We've got Ryefield model was at the peak. I think this looks a much simpler breakdown and a much easier build, and it's all in the box. You know, metal barrel, mesh screens, accurate tracks, as close as you can get, with a figure and moulded on Zimmerit. I think that's pretty hard to get close to that. Everyone talks about the Dragon kits being brilliant. They are, but the magic tracks don't have open guide horns, so you've got to go and buy another set of tracks. Academy, don't bother. That's the same as Airfix, so don't bother. Tamiya really starting to show their age. They need a lot thrown at them. They need a metal barrel photo etch set, 3D printed or photo etch tool clamps, and metal or resin tracks just to even be in with a glimpse of coming up near this. All of those options are going to push you way over, in the UK, £100. You're going to be talking about that. So Ryefield model is the only one that is out of the box, is accurate. You don't really need to go and get anything else. Even that doesn't come with a metal barrel, doesn't come with a figure, and only has one version with moulded on Zimmerit. This far out into the front straight away, as far as accuracy, looks like there aren't many issues from what I can tell, just by reading between the lines on the internet, and by them doing things like this, putting all of the unique parts to give you a specific configuration of Tiger that was used for one marking scheme, which is the Otto Carius Tiger. That's how you do that, because this has everything you need in the box for his Tiger. I like it. Now I need to go on and build it. So hopefully I can get on with one of these ticking on in the background, like I said, and then we'll do a built-up review again and see where we go from there. But it's very interesting for me. I do like Tiger tanks. I'd like to have built more than I have. One of those subjects I know a little bit too much about, so it means it's very hard to actually finish one with all the kits needing so much work. This is a godsend to me because it's an easy build, all in there, and should be pretty quick to get up and finish. So I'm looking forward to tackling this one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you've seen one of these, got one, built one, all the rest of it. And stay tuned to the channel and we'll see where we go next with this kit.